Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
I am doing very well. How are you this evening?
Uh, pretty good, pretty good. It's a beautiful Saturday here in Woodland Hills. So
Oh,
it's great to be here with you. It's an honor for having me a part of your show.
thank you so much for being here. And then we have a bunch of people joining us. Hello, Joey. Um, have so much problems pronouncing some of these. So thank you, Imani. Thank you for everyone for joining us. Well, welcome. And I am really excited. You're the first author that I feature on here that I know about. There might have been other people that wrote something, but you have this the Ancient Chronicles. You've done the first book so far. Why don't you go
Yes.
ahead and tell us about some of the things that you're doing? I know that's a huge part of what you have going on, but you have other things as well. So go ahead and tell our viewers what you're up to, please.
Oh, absolutely. For right now, um, I try not to give too many spoilers, you know. But as you guys all know, or some of you have seen my social media, I am developing a vampire series that I'm trying to push for, let's say, about 7 to 9 books. So the first book is already out, and I'm currently, and it's doing so well. I really would want to give a shout out to all of my vampire fans or anyone, my family who's been supporting me all the way with this project. Even to some degree, they might think in the beginning that I was a little like um, I would say a little crazy because, the vampire genre is it's very compelling. It's very vast, and
Hmm.
people would think, well, someone like me, of all people, would be, in this community or in this kind of world. So, I really appreciate their support regardless. And for right now, I did finish the second book, which is not actually it's not part of the vampire series.
Hmm.
It is actually it's its own separate thing, which we can talk about that later on. Again, no spoilers. But let's just say it's about celestials, angels and things like that, which definitely that's a different topic. Um, the third novel that I'm actually working on, it's actually the sequel slash prequel to The Newborn.
Awesome.
So it's coming along pretty great. I'm very excited. I'm still outlining the chapters, at this very moment,
Hmm.
trying to, establish the flow of the story and everything that kind of correlates to the first one, although it takes centuries even before the very first book takes place.
Hmm.
But it's becoming phenomenal. I'm very, very excited for it to come out one day. And for the readers who's been always asking me, when is the second one coming out? So patience, patience. It's a virtue. Trust me, you guys will love it. And yeah, I think for the most part, that's been going on with my writing, and also at the same time, creating illustrations for my second book at the same time. So it's like about the angels, like I said. So I'm actually drawing the angels that are going to be within the book. So I'm working on that on the side while I'm typing. So it's been pretty busy.
Yeah. And that's really what grabbed my attention was your artwork on your main page. I was scrolling through and I'm big into books. I'm not very big into novels. However, I am interested because it's kind of the genre my daughter's interested in and the artwork that was in there. And then just seeing, your personality shine through on your page. And I really enjoy the fact that it's like you want to be an inspiration to others as well. That really grabbed me and just everything in there. You're just very supportive of people, and I just really appreciate the way that you come across and that you are. So thank you for that. I do
Thank
have
you.
a question as far as because so many people I talk to are writing a book or want to write a book. A lot of them want to. We have the ideas. I have about 3 or 4 ideas. Um,
All right.
and it's not, and that's the thing, mine's like not a novel. It's like that just seems so wow, so amazing, so far out there. And I'm curious, with that, is this an idea that you just came to you? How long before you started writing did you have it, and do you have like the whole series already in your mind, or is it you pretty much have like kind of an overview and you're gonna write it? Like, how does it work for you?
Oh man. Let's see. Well, in the beginning, I started writing this particular book, the one about the vampires, at age, I would say, 19 or 20 years old, and almost 10 years ago. And the way it came out to me was the fact that, I grew up in a, I have siblings who are such a big fans of Enter the Vampire. I'm sure many of you know what movie is that, and the works of Anne Rice. So I grew up watching those kind of movies, and not all the time, of course, but I would say most of my siblings enjoying those. And ever since then, it, it struck me to the sense of, it'd be so cool to one day, who knows, maybe I could be somehow writing something similar to this. Who knows? And then throughout the years, I've seen so many vampire stories, so many vampire TV shows, movies coming out back to back, and I thought to myself, wait, what's going? But what? Something it's not. Something's missing here. Something's not correlating to the way I remember seeing the previous movies that I used to watch with my
Mm-hmm.
siblings, the vampires that scared the living out of me, or the ones that, they're beautiful beings, but at the same time they carry themselves with like a gothic classic,
Mm-hmm.
aura to them. They're not just monsters, like other movies like to depict them as,
Mm-hmm.
or a few others have, but they're elegant. They're powerful, beautiful beings who are trying to coexist with mortals at the same time, doing what they're doing. Of course, you got the bad and the evil ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I started writing this particular story around that time period because I wanted to be part of this kind of community, this world, this universe, and make my own thing. And also because I would say the people, the people were my inspiration and my motivation at the end of the day to make these stories for them. It wasn't for me, to be quite honest with you. I didn't make this story for my benefit. I wanted to create something or bring back something that a lot of people would enjoy. And who knows, maybe this could be the next thing, the next big TV anime vampire series. Who knows that people will enjoy, and just kind of make it seem as if like, oh man, this is what I've been wanting for a while. This is the kind of vampires I want to see again in the big
Mm.
screen. But definitely, Anne Rice was part of that influence, so I will always be thankful for her. And one day I do hope to meet her. Anne Rice, yeah, she's a phenomenal writer. But I would say it started at an early age. But yes, as I was writing, um, suddenly, I kid you not, I began to have more ideas about its universe. I began to stretch it out a lot more, even towards making it seem as if like there's a history behind this
Mm-hmm.
that stretches all the way to 2800 BC, or that stretches from then till now. So I'm developing a very huge timeline with my book, with so many vampire characters, so many other mystical creatures within this universe. We all know about werewolves and things like that. So it all comes to me as like not just ideas, but I try to visualize it as a movie. How would you want background stories to be, or making plots, twists here and there. How it transcends through time, what makes a connection, what's the deep purpose here, and things like that. So it's more like a movie that plays in my head most of the time. I just write it down. I just write it down.
That's awesome.
And that's pretty much how it works with me. I try not to overthink too much, because sometimes it is a little tired. I get tired. But I would say it just rolls. It just role plays like that. You just have to write down the notes, write down your ideas, and just make it happen.
That's awesome. I almost get this image of you going into that realm in your mind and just visualizing and playing and just watching it unfold almost. Is that a little bit of what you have going on there?
Um, Technically, I'm a very visual person,
Mm-hmm.
so I like to visualize everything that I'm writing for sure. If I visualize my story where I want it to lead to, or where it needs to be at that certain point, definitely that's what I do. But I like to be very, very zoned in into what I'm writing, and also research. It's very important too. So if you're writing something that has been in developed or has been created for, decades or something like that, you really want to at least know some of the, the folklore behind
Hmm.
it. So you're just not writing something and see if it works. No, you have to know some fundamentals behind it too. So that's been part of my process as I'm writing this universe for sure.
And that's I think that comes into play a lot because I know so many people, you know, a lot of times people wait till they're ready to do something, but there does need to be that research that goes into it and a certain
Yes.
level of getting to where, okay, now it's time. Was that a distinct moment for you where you felt, okay, now it's time to do it? Or did you plan ahead, like I want to research this amount and then I'll be ready? Like how did you get yourself to go forward?
Well, in the beginning, I kid you not, it was more like okay, I have the story, let me just get into it and write it. But as I was writing, at the same time, I'll be watching vampire movies, vampire series, anything that would give me some type of influence.
Nice.
Um, so I would put the research while I'm writing at the same time. So some people like to do the research before or after when they're writing, so they can just go back and just rewrite some things. But in my process, I do it almost at the same time as I'm writing. So if I'm not too sure about something, I like to Google. I like to, look into, okay, how would this particular scene be very, dark in the way it's supposed to be? So I would research that,
Mhm.
and I will get my answers, and I'll just put it in with my ideas, obviously make it my own, and create something very different, but using those fundamentals. But I will use all that at the same time while I'm writing the story. I rarely do the research after or before. It all just comes and just kind of goes as I go, I guess you would say.
Well, that's got juice in it as well because as you study, I'm sure that just helps keep you in that thought process, really helps keep you present in that and it helps keep moving you forward. And
Exactly.
I think that's so important, like to get moving, to start doing something, start writing and, develop from there. Figure out, do you like to research before and figure out those things. So that's awesome that
And
you just took action on that.
no, thank you. And my advice on that particular part for any writer is, you know, take notes. If you have a story in your mind and everything, and I would suggest definitely get your I use sticky notes, believe it or not, sometimes because I get ideas and I got an idea. Let me just get the sticky note and write
Then
it
you
real
can move
quick.
it
And then,
around. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, move it around.
Hmm.
And then I go into typing on those notes. But I would suggest any writer who wants to do something like this, or just any type of story, if you have your ideas, click in, immediately write them down. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till, oh yeah, I'll do it later. Oh, don't worry about it. No, no, no.
It'll be
Do it at that
gone.
moment. Run, get out, or run to your desk and type it, and make sure you have them there with you all the time because that's like it will definitely add to your story for sure. But yeah, that's what I would do. And my advice is anyone, make sure you write your notes before you start actually typing the story. Make sure you blueprint everything. Have your guides, your guidelines, and then you go into the big deal.
That's awesome. I'm feeling the layers, like, because as you write it, it's going in there as well. And it's getting,
Yes.
it's helping frame all of that. That's awesome. I'm so excited. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I also see that you've mentioned that you really want to inspire people. What is that? Where does that come from you personally? What is your drive behind that?
Um, as many people would like to think, and especially someone like me, I like to think that we all have a purpose, that we're put in here on the earth to do. And some people will be, well, I'm put to earth to inspire people. I'm here to make this happen for others. I'm here to, create something different, world changing or something like that. Um, so that kind of mentality for me has served me very well because when I was growing up, I had so many artists that I looked up to, uh, and they were my inspiration. And I wanted to be just like them when I was, I was saying myself, if I grew up, when I grew up, I want to be just like Miyazaki-san from animation, or Walt Disney, or a writer like Anne Rice, Stephen King. You know, those figures made me have that drive to push myself. And I told myself one time, like, what if, it's time for me to try to do the same thing for the younger generations. The younger generation writers, they need to be looking at somebody who they can get inspired from and make them feel like, you know what, it's possible. Don't let people say no to you, that you can do it, that you cannot write this or write that. You can, and get yourself in that spot to make things happen. And you could be that inspiration for others that come after you as well. So I think that was kind of like my driving force. And personally, I'm a very spiritual guy. I was raised Catholic. And so one of many things is that I always try to ask, my Heavenly Father, what do you need me to do? What do you want me to do? If it's to be a positive, of course, influence to everybody else around me, that's my job. That's how I see life for me. It's not for the benefit of me. Like I said, it's not for me, but it's for him. So if I can serve others through my works, then that's my trophy. That's my reward. That's my Oscar.
That
So that's what I want, is to make people feel better, feel joyous to see my works and to be inspired. That's my goal.
that's beautiful. That's absolutely wonderful. And it's so powerful, the power behind serving. And I believe as well that we're given something to share and to be of service. And so
Exactly.
to
Absolutely.
follow that, yeah. And I absolutely believe that there's guidance available. And in whatever form people believe it is, I believe there's that guidance, and you just need to tap into it and ask
Exactly.
where you need to go. So that's very powerful and wonderful. Awesome. What else that would you like people to take a look at? Are there different I know some of you have some hush hush stuff. What is it that you do want to dive into and share here for people to go and take a look at your work?
Definitely. If they want to get in touch with me, or they want to stay in touch with my journey and see what I'm about, or see what I'm posting, they can definitely follow me on Instagram at Richie underscore Axel, and also my book series. I do have an Instagram for that one. It's the underscore the Ancient Chronicles, and also my Rad Animation Studios, where I post just artworks, nothing else. So if people are interested in just seeing my concept art or visual development, or things that I doodle every day, uh, that's where they would want to see. It's RAD underscore Animation Studios. So they can definitely do that, and also have Twitter, Facebook. I'm very active on social media as we speak. So whenever I try to post something, I try to post it on every platform, just to keep my followers in tune with what I'm doing.
Hmm. Yeah, you do a
So
great job of that. And like
thank you.
I saw your word count on the one that you just finished. What was it? 123,000 words. Like how do you
Oh
write all
man,
of that and keep up to date on that?
yeah,
It's
that was
very
that's
impressive.
the second. Yeah, thank you. That's my second book about the angels. That, I kid you not, so far that is my longest, biggest book I think I've written so far. I'm not sure how the third book will be. I don't think it's gonna be that long. But the second book, the angel one, I began writing it last March or February, right when the pandemic was still
Mm.
pretty fresh.
Hmm.
Everything was kind of chaotic still, and everything. Um, so I began writing it around that time period, and it took me about 11 months to finish it.
Hmm.
So I ended up writing about almost above 300 pages, just the first draft. I still have to go back into it and revise it. But yes, it is going to be a big book. So it was pretty interesting to write that much
Yeah, that's a lot.
for a short amount of time.
Yeah, that is a lot.
And then I just gave myself 1 month break, and now I'm writing the sequel of the Vampire series out of
Oh, wow.
7 more to come.
If it's in there, get it out. That's awesome.
Exactly. Thank you. So it's coming. It's gonna be phenomenal. Again, I'm big in social media, so people can definitely follow me. I always try to like to follow back. Anyone has any questions, they can reach out to me. I would try to answer their questions without giving any spoilers. I'm a very non-spoiler guy. So I try not to give up too much information on exactly what's the next thing, because I
Mhm.
like to have the element of surprise,
Awesome.
Gotta keep the mystery.
Exactly, exactly.
But they can definitely follow me on all my social medias. And I will always be posting either one time a day or something like that. And there will always be something for them to look at, for sure.
I mean, you have so much going on there. The t-shirts are just
Oh,
beautiful, beautiful
thank
artwork
you.
on your t-shirts, and just all of the articles that you've been in, the podcast and everything. I just love seeing all of the new announcements and everyone
Thank
with
you.
their books, holding up their books. It's just really a fun site to be on, and oftentimes I don't see that too much on the Instagram. So that's really cool how you're able to manage that. I could tell you put a lot of
Thank
work into
you. And again, it's all about inspiration. I don't think of it like trying just to do all this for me. It's all for the people, for the artists, for them to see that someone who could do it, they can too. And especially in tough times, we need some people that can tell us that it's not impossible, it's possible. So I just try to do my best to do my part, and hopefully it gives other people that inspiration to do the same. That's all why I do it.
That's awesome. For someone that maybe doesn't have a writing background, but they do feel that they have a story within, and they feel a novel is the best way to do it, um, and maybe they want to self-publish because that's how you publish, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. What do you think the first steps are, and what do they need to start thinking about as far as when they do finish it up? What would be the steps that you would recommend to them?
Well, my steps would be, if you want to self-publish, I mean, it's up to you. It's up to the writer if they want to do the traditional route or the self-publishing route. Uh, I kid you not, there was one time I tried considering the traditional route, but it's become very tiresome to some people, to many people, because it's very hard to get in there. And I'm not saying it's impossible, of course, it's not. It's possible, but it's just so much waiting to go on that. And then self-publishing, thankfully, it became available to a lot of people. And I kid you not, many authors nowadays, that's what they do. They
Hmm.
self-publish and they become successful at some point. They keep pushing in themselves and whatnot. So the traditional route, it's up to the writer if he or she wants to do that. But if you want to go to the self-publishing, I guarantee you will see your literally works there in front of you. It's gonna happen. And there's so many publishing houses. I kid you not. I think well, obviously my publishing house in the self-publishing that I used was called Lulu.com,
Hmm.
Lulu.com, and they were I think they're still the best, one of the best self-publishing companies. And I would advise people to look into them. But there is other ones that have come about now that I found out. One in particular, Gatekeeper Press. They seem to be very, very, very good in what they do and what their services are. So I suggest any writer who are interested in get into this industry, I would suggest do your research. Look into a lot of many self-publishing companies out there, and go through the list and see which ones are best for your interest. Because there's so many. You got, like I said, Gatekeeper Press. There's Lulu.com. There's I think mm, there's also oh yes, Amazon. I think they also do something like that, and Barnes and Noble. So you just have to do the research and see which one suits you best. and go with it. And look at the pros and cons. That's very important. You know, you have to know what's going to be the bad part, what's going to be the good part. So I would suggest doing that. You know, make a list of the self-publishing houses or companies that you found, and just check which one's the best one, and which one's not working for you, and just start from there, and just follow their guidelines, their requirements, and whatnot, and you will do just fine, and you'll be okay. But that will be for anyone who wants to go to the self-publishing route.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have too much knowledge in the traditional route, but like I said, it's hard from what I know to go into that. But it's possible, but it's totally up to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to share while you're here?
uh I would just say, for everyone, thank you again for tuning into this podcast. And I thank you, Melanie, for having me on board. And, just be the inspiration for so many people out there, and just try to do what you feel like you were here for, and make it happen. And anyone who has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I mean, I'm open to answer any questions. And follow me. I'll follow you back. If any other things that I need to post about my next books, you will see it. Trust me. But
Awesome.
that's pretty much it for now. But definitely thank you for having me on your show. It's been an honor and a pleasure, for sure.
Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
being on, and you have been just wonderful through this whole process, me bugging you on all of these different things. You've been
No,
just
you
absolutely
don't bug
wonderful.
me.
So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I love that message. Just be the inspiration. Do the thing. That's so awesome. Thank you very much.
And you
Have
will go a
a,
long way. Trust me.
yes, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I wish you continued success. I know you'll do it. I know you will. You have so much energy behind it. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
very
for
much.
being on here, and have a good
Thank you.
night. Bye,
You too,
everyone.
Melanie. Thank you very
Thanks for
much. Thank you,
joining.
everybody.